happening, everybody? I'm Steve and welcome back to Junk Drummer TV, and welcome to my first in a series I'm going to call Drum Lessons from the Quarantine. So when I first started this YouTube channel, I had no desire to do what I'm doing today. I think that there are far better drum teachers who have way better setups already doing it on YouTube, and I don't really think I can compete. The one that comes to mind is Stephen Taylor. Excellent first name, and he's a great YouTube drum teacher. I highly suggest you check him out. But yeah, I never really wanted to do what I'm about to do today, but I'm going to. I teach, up until 2 weeks ago, about 50 students a week. So when I taught all day, I did not want to come home and do more teaching. I wanted to do what I'm doing in my reaction analysis series. I wanted to talk about why someone is doing something and not really deal with the minutia of how. But it is a different day today than it was 2 weeks ago, and seeing that today I did 2 drum lessons, I'm going to go ahead and do one for you all. Before we start the drum lesson, I would like to remind everyone to go check out my Patreon. I now have a merch store, and also I am now set up for Skype drum lessons. If you would like to take some drum lessons while you're holed up in your house, please just go to my Instagram, just look up Junk Drummer and you'll find me, and DM me there. So let's get into drum fill resolving. So this is a usual lesson that I do with more advanced students, and it has to do with resolving your drum fills. One of the biggest things that a drum teacher, or at least I do, get asked, especially from students who have already gigged and played in bands, and they all say the same thing: my drum fills are boring, I don't know how to spice up my drum fills. Well, this is the lesson that I usually will pull out when that happens. Full disclosure, this idea came from the Bob Moses Drum Wisdom book. I love that book. I think it's one of the Bibles of drum literature. It's not like an exercise heavy book like you would think, like Future Sounds by David Garibaldi. It is concepts, and it's these real wide-ranging concepts that can be laid over a lot of different things that you do on the drum set. Drum Wisdom by Bob Moses, check it out. So, drum fill resolving. Always start it from here. You know, we can get real stuck into, when we do our drum fills, you start them on whatever and end them on the beginning of the next measure. You know, crashing on that one, right? And it's easy to get stuck in that. So I think of this when I am developing drum fills. So we're going to be thinking strictly in 16th notes today. 1 eanda, 2 eanda, 3 eanda, 4 eanda, 1, right? And we're going to think about using each one of those beats as a place to resolve or end your drum fill. Here's the easiest one that I always pull out. So again, you know, the good old-fashioned 3 eanda, 4 eanda. Now, if I think about resolving that on the of 4, it gets me out of those tendencies. And I say it all the time: tendencies are the killer of creativity. So I will work on the drum fill and say start at 3 and I'm going to end on the 4. So, you know, so if you notice, I played a couple different drum fills and it ends on the of 4. So what we'll do for this one, we'll do like 2-beat drum fills. We'll start on 3 and then we'll work on the different places where we're going to resolve it. So then take that and move it back 1 and resolve on the and of 4. Also snuck an in right there. Okay, now take it, move it back 1, resolve on the E. I I think this idea works really well when you're arranging songs. If you're thinking about like a lick that the whole band is playing, don't always just think, well, we're going to go and then end on that one. I use this idea a lot when I'm arranging songs with my bands. It will get you out of the tendency to just play your drum fill and end it on the one. Now, you can take this farther. I did just a real quick one today. We resolved on the 4, the and a 4, and the E of 4. You can start on the 1 and go to the of 3, like this. There's infinite possibilities in doing this. And then the last one here, I'll show you. You can now do, once you get that down, then you can go farther with that and do multiple resolving points in your drum fill. And resolving meaning, ending the crash, hitting the crash. So on this one, I'm going to do a crash on the 1, then the of 3, and then the E of 4. This will sound not nearly as cool, but very much like something you would hear Neil Peart do. Also, Matt Cameron does it a lot, where they mix cymbals in the middle of their drum fills. They don't just drum fill, drum fill, drum fill, drum fill, crash. They put crashes in the middle there to spice it up. So remember, this one's on the 1, the of 3, and then the E of 4. So again. So there you go. Real quick lesson that if you can think analytically about what you're doing, and yeah, I know this is real wonky because, if you don't read music, this is kind of hard to do, but not really, maybe. But you can spice up your drum fills because it gets you out of that tendency of always thinking about resolving your drum fill all the way to a strong beat. If you notice, especially the E and the we call those weak beats, and ending those drum fills on those weak beats makes you rethink how you get there. When I think about drum fills, I'm always thinking about, what beat do I start on and where do I end, and then everything in the middle. Let's see what happens. Do just a little bit of examination about how you're resolving your drum fills, and you'll start coming up with more far out and exciting drum fills. There's my first online YouTube drum lesson. If you can look, I'm not really set up for it. I live in a townhouse. I can't have a real drum set up. I'm not a big fan of electronic drum sets. I have to use one to be able to practice because my next door neighbor, hey Kyle, definitely does not want to hear a drum set playing at the hours of night that I want to play. So I hope you all enjoyed all that. Please give me a like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. And everyone, please stay safe and please be kind to each other and keep practicing until it's easy.